Everywhere I went, people were talking about us, like the whole school was buzzing. Did you hear Lila and Sophie? They totally ended their friendship over a guy.
Bet they're both drooling over him. How typical.
I could feel the stares and the whispers like we were some sort of joke. Imagine fighting over a boy. That's so pathetic. And then, of course, the comments got nastier.
Bro, what if they both hooked up with him? Ugh, wouldn't be surprised.
It felt like the whole school wanted to see us fall apart. Sophie and I, we were supposed to be unbreakable. So if you're all wondering who Lila and Sophie are and why we're fighting, why it's a secret, and why it's such a big deal, well, I'm here to spill the tea. Well, stay tuned, keep watching Out of a Book, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of these stories. Before all this drama, Sophie and I, we were literally the dynamic duo of the school. Everyone knew us. Teachers, kids, even the janitor. We didn't just hang out, we basically lived in each other's worlds. It was like if you saw Sophie, I was 2 steps behind her, and vice versa. I mean, there was this one time we both got detention for laughing too loud in math class over the dumbest inside joke about a meme. The teacher didn't even bother asking who started it.
Of course, it's Lila and Sophie.
We were just that predictable together. And then there was this time we tried to sneak into the boys' locker room during gym just to prank Ethan with glitter bombs. Let's just say we got caught by the principal and she gave us this,
I'm disappointed but not surprised.
Look. We were legends for a week after that. Sophie was my partner in crime and we had each other's backs through everything. Whether it was covering for each other in class or hyping each other up before a big test, we were always in sync. Everyone knew it. Teachers would even joke like, "What did you two cook up today?" Jack was that guy in school. You know the type. Not exactly the brightest when it came to grades, but no one cared. Why? Because Jack had a way of making his flunking sound like a heroic sacrifice. Every time he missed an assignment, he had this elaborate story about how he was
too busy helping my dad with disabled pets charity work.
Or
spending my weekend building schools for kids in Africa.
And hysterically, the teachers totally bought it. It was like no matter how many projects he missed, he'd flash that pearly smile and they'd just nod like, wow, what a great kid. The girls, forget it. They were obsessed with him. Like he couldn't finish his homework because of all of his humanitarian missions, but you'd see them practically lining up to help him with all his other projects. Girls were doing his math homework, offering to tutor him in science, anything just to get his attention. Sophie, she fell for the whole Jack charm thing hard. I could see it happening, but there was no stopping her. Everyone believed in him. They wanted to believe him. But I had this constant nagging feeling like there's no way this stuff is true. Something about Jack just felt off, and I couldn't shake the thought that he was totally lying. I mean, everyone at school was practically worshiping Jack like he was some kind of saint, but I wasn't buying it. I could see right through his act, and Jack knew it. You could tell it irritated him that I wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid like everyone else. I tried gently suggesting to Sophie that maybe, just maybe, Jack wasn't this perfect hero, but of course she wasn't having it. And then one day, Jack liked one of Sophie's posts on social media. Shocker! You would have thought she won the lottery or something. She freaked out. Oh my God! Jack liked my photo! I tried to put the brakes on a bit. Yeah, Sophie, he's probably just scrolling with his eyes closed. Maybe he accidentally liked it while saving a bus full of orphans in South America? She rolled her eyes and went back to obsessing over him, totally blind to the fact that Jack wasn't what he seemed. Then out of nowhere, my phone buzzes, and guess what? Jack liked my photo too. I showed Sophie, thinking she'd finally get suspicious, but she just shrugged like it was no big deal. Lila, he's literally just a nice guy. He likes everyone's pics. You're still being weird about him? A few days later, we were at school and Jack came up and tapped Sophie on the shoulder.
Hey, I need to talk to you. In private.
Sophie, being chill and not having a low-key fangirl moment, told him, "You can say whatever you want in front of Lila. It's cool." But Jack just smiled.
Nope, can't. Come with me.
When she came back, she looked like she was walking on air. Jack had asked her out and she was losing it. But then he gave me this weird smile. Friendly, but not quite. Something was up. Sophie broke my focus and caught me overthinking. Lila, stop! Be happy for me! How often does your crush actually like you back? I don't know. Maybe I was overthinking everything. Maybe Jack's not so bad after all. The next day, Sophie calls me. Jack's taking me out! He's taking me to the green. You know, that parking lot behind the park where serious couples take their lovers. So, I have a favor to ask. If my mom calls, tell her I'm at your place for a sleepover. I'll come over right after the date. I reluctantly agreed, but as I was laying in bed that night, I kept wondering what was going on with Sophie at that moment. Was she whispering her secrets to him? Was he holding her close and making promises? Then Sophie shows up, practically glowing. Ah, Lila, it was perfect. We sat in the back, all cozy, and then he kissed me. Then she described it in detail, how Jack pulled her close, kissed her softly, his hand on her neck. She was 100% hooked, as though Mrs. Jack was written on her forehead. As she talked, something hit me. For the first time, I felt jealous of the way Sophie had someone to hold her close, someone to make her feel special. But I brushed the selfish thought away. Sophie was my best friend, and I wasn't gonna let my insecurities get in the way. The next day, I'm just minding my business, heading to school, when out of nowhere, Jack steps in front of me with that cocky grin on his face.
Hey.
Yeah, hi. I mumbled a reply, but all the images banging around in my brain are of the intimate details Sophie told me after their little adventure last night. I must have zoned out because Jack snapped his fingers, pulling me back to reality.
You know, I really like you. You're always so confident, always there for your best friend. And you're the only one who looks me in the eye and questions me instead of drooling on me.
I blinked hard, totally confused. Why are you telling me this? He leaned in a little and smiled wickedly.
Because I knew I couldn't get close to you since you don't like me. So I used Sophie to get closer.
My heart dropped. What? You used her? Jack didn't even hesitate, not even fazed.
I can stop dating her if you want. Honestly, I thought dating her would help me forget about you, but after that date, I realized it's always been you. I've always liked you.
Guys, I'm not proud of this next thing. I don't even know how it happened. His words totally melted me. And before I could look away, he leaned in and gave me a quick peck on the lips. It was like electricity had shot through my mouth and down to my toes. Whoa. My heart raced, butterflies danced in my stomach. Whoa. But then I arrived at school, and there's Sophie, all chirpy and singing, going on and on about Jack. Jack this, Jack that. And that's when it hit me. Ew! Jack was playing us both. I felt numb, like, what is happening right now? So I started digging into Jack's life, and what I found, shocking, doesn't even begin to cover it. Turns out all that social work he's bragged about, surprise, total bull. Jack wasn't saving the world. He was caught up in something way darker. He'd hook up with girls, make them feel special, then ghost them. But not because he was busy helping people. Jack didn't care about school. He was spending his time with a shady crowd playing high-stakes games that had nothing to do with innocent fun. His parents didn't even notice, too busy with their own lives. Meanwhile, Jack was using girls, getting them to do his schoolwork while he focused on his lucrative games. And if the girlfriend caught on, he'd drop them without a second thought. And my dear sweet bestie Sophie, she was just the latest pawn. So I confronted Jack. The second he heard I knew everything, he just smirked.
So you found out, huh? I knew you weren't like the other girls, and that's exactly why I wanted revenge. You never fell for my charm, always questioning me, and I couldn't stand it.
His candor and blatant disregard for us made my blood boil and my heart pound.
Dating both you and Sophie, that was part of my plan. I wanted to break up your friendship, teach you a lesson. But you know what? I think I'll speed things up. Let's see who Sophie believes. After all, she's crazy about me.
Before I could say a word, he pulled out his phone, smirked, and called Sophie.
Hey, babe, can we talk?
And just like that, he walked away, leaving me standing there speechless. Out of desperation, I called Sophie, but her phone was busy. My heart was racing. When I finally got to school, I saw Sophie and Jack standing together. I rushed up to them. Sophie, wait, let me explain. But Sophie didn't even let me finish. She snapped, eyes blazing. How could you? You were my best friend and you hooked up with my boyfriend? Her words hit me like a slap, and I saw Jack smirking at me, that evil smile on his face. Before I could defend myself, Sophie cut me off again. What? You thought I'd pick you over him? You're so wrong, Lila. And then, out of nowhere, Sophie and I burst out laughing.
Jack just stood there completely confused. Are you girls nuts? Why are you laughing?
Oh, Jack, it's precious you think I would believe you over Lila. Lila told me everything in a voice message. I already knew all about your little games. You were just a week-long fling. I've trusted her for a lot longer than you can imagine. I certainly don't trust you one bit. Honestly, you thought you could break us up? Boy, please, you're not even worth the drama. And just like that, it was back to us. Two besties, no boy drama needed. Sure, we might be missing that boy-crazy love, but honestly, until we find the right one, we're more than enough for each other.